Hey, welcome to Guitar Knobs, the guitars, gear, noise, and nonsense podcast, hosted today by these knobs.
Tony Dudzik, Pick Guardian. Empty chair.
Empty chair, empty chair. Billy is down for the count, as is Jared. What is the world coming to? Hope everybody's doing well out there and not being as sick as these two are. Hey everybody, it's me, Todd. Welcome to the Guitar Knobs podcast. We're thrilled to death that you are listening to our show with just Tony and me today.
Two knobs.
Followed by another couple of knobbish gents. May you introduce yourselves?
Sure. Brian Chalemi from Sonic Artifacts, the podcast.
And this is also Max Braun from Sonic Artifacts.
Boom. All right. Hey, I was just on your show a little while ago. Thank you for having me on. That was great. That was great fun.
Pleasure, man. Serious pleasure.
And I hope that the grading is the same after you get done with this one.
And next time, if you need some real talent.
Right. Yes.
There you go.
We'll call Billy.
That's what to the show. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Billy.
So we have got a lot to talk about. And, you know, anytime we have partners on the show or whatever, you know what that means. That means 2-4 on the floors. That's 8
On a plate.
Yes,
on a plate.
sir.
Yes, so we're excited for that. We've got some bunch of other awesomeness to discuss. We want to call special attention to, we just had the show with the Guitar Heroes, and we've gotten quite a few messages in on other people's Guitar Heroes. So I wanted to share them. And if you're listening, you're like, I have Guitar Heroes. Send them to us for Pete's sakes. What are you waiting for? I don't know. What are you? I love that. What are you? Anyways.
That's nice, Todd.
Yeah. Here we go. This is from Justin Valeri. Hey, just listened to the Guitar Heroes episode. Loved the Josh Homme call out. One of my favorite players. I would add Jerry Cantrell, Adam Jones, Alan Johannes, Dave Matthews, and the duo of Chris Cornell and Kim Thale. He just kind of went on more than 4. So we'll just
that's
mention
okay.
Zach Wilde, the Jimmies, and Dime. Okay, yes. Great episode. And it sounds like his first 4 were up front. So that's a Adam Jones is a great call out. I mean, I think he kind of gets overlooked a little bit.
Yeah, I would say so.
He's not necessarily a guitar. He's like a guitar anti-hero a little bit. He sits in the shadows and plays his awesomeness. So anyways, that being said, gentlemen, if you would like to, if you have yours that you would like to share with us, we would love to hear them.
All right, I have 4 real quick.
Boom, hit me.
So Jay Mascis,
Yeah.
Okay.
Billy Corgan,
Yep.
James Hetfield,
Yes.
and of course Jimi Hendrix. Though
That's a solid lineup. Solid lineup. How about you?
Let me think about it. I definitely Keith Richards is on there.
Yeah.
I love the rhythmic grooves. I'm not like a serious heavy shredder myself, so it's nice to have idols that you can kind of do actually what they do.
Yeah.
And I do love Buddy Holly. I think one of the forerunners of 3-piece bands and songs and stuff like that. And I mean, I guess there's so many. I mean,
First 4 to come to your head. That's what's that's what's truth.
Yeah. I mean, and James Williamson and Ron Ashton from the Stooges, I would say.
Okay.
Excellent choices.
Perfecto. If you listening right now, wherever you are, have your 4 heroes, and maybe even what we did on the show was we said, look, if you're going to see a wall mural of the greatest guitar heroes ever, skip those guys. Tell us the other guys. You know who those are. We know who they are.
If they've appeared on the cover of Guitar Player magazine, skip them.
Multiple times, we'll say.
Yeah, multiple times. Okay.
Yeah. Anyhow, so please send them to us. Moving onward and upward.
So, before we go any further, Todd,
Yes.
I just wanted to bring up the passing of yet another great player that probably a lot of people may not even know existed, but if you do a quick Wikipedia search, you will find. We were amazed. We counted upwards of 300 albums that this guy has played on.
Pretty close to, probably around like 250, 275.
We got a chance to I guess kind of brush shoulders with him a while back. We're talking about Michael Rhodes, who most recently has been playing with Joe Bonamassa as his bass player. And he's you may have seen him. He's this tall, lanky guy, incredible bass player, and an incredible session bass player. And like I said, just a quick trip to the Wikipedia page, and I mean, I was just shocked because you scroll and scroll and scroll on all of the albums that he has played on. Just a sad passing. Another one, too soon. I mean, I think he was hadn't even hit 70 yet, and
it's a kind of he was a kind of player. Now, I wasn't really familiar with him before we saw Joe Bonamassa here in Ohio, and I recall actually leaning over to you and say, like, holy crap, that bass player. Like, when somebody is that good on bass, they command attention, not because they're jumping around and acting all crazy. It's just like, wow, so solid, so good.
Yep.
And this is amongst all this, keyboards and drums and multiple guitar players and everything, and he stood out. That's saying something. On that note, I think it's also worth mentioning that another bassist had passed at age 56, which is way, 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 way too young. Steve Mackey of Pulp, who I love Britpop, and he's, Pulp's the good stuff, and that's just so young, it's crazy.
Well, since we're on the subject, I'd also
holy crap!
This is welcome to the guitar obituary page.
What's going on?
Well, David Lindley. Was another one. I'm sure everyone has heard his pedal steel work, especially with Jackson Browne and some of his own stuff. He is just an incredible guy that just did his job. Yeah, and
speaking of slide,
yes, well,
pedal steel and slide is different. But
speaking of guitar players,
yes.
Don't forget. I mean, we just lost Gary Rossington from Linrod Skynyrd and the Rossington Collins Band.
Yeah. Famed for the slide guitar solo in that particular Freebird song. Maybe you've heard of it. Yeah, crazy. Jared actually was. I think Jared played that.
They had his guitar down
at
Carter's.
At Carter. Yeah. It's like they're like, you guys want to play this? We're like, no. It's like $275,000 guitar. Why on earth would you hand me that?
Well, they handed it to Jared,
which it put us into even more fear.
I didn't mean to drop it.
We're pretty certain this is French fry grease on the back of this neck. Oh, how did this get here?
So, on that happy note,
yes.
I mean,
onward and upward. We're sorry to hear that, and please, people, take care of yourselves out there and all that stuff. Okay. Now, what's going on in our music world this week? Moving and shaking, we're going to check in right here with the lovely, leggy Tanya Bolonsky.
Boy, my description gets more and more interesting every week.
Yes, and then we'll find out what's going on with the fellows from Sonic Artifacts.
Okay, so I'll mention two things this week, and they're both related. I did two pretty cool projects, things that I call either my signature or logo pick guards. The first one I did was for Little Steven. Rickenbacker was kind enough to...
Of the Bruce Springsteen band.
Yes.
Well, I mean, not everybody, you think... We have a lot of variance in age, Tony.
Okay, and also that. Little Steven's Underground Garage for
the radio show and all that business. And also of Sopranos fame.
Of Sopranos fame,
yes.
That's correct. So he's out... This is on what I believe will be Bruce Springsteen's final tour.
Yes.
And
are you guys Springsteen fans?
Nah.
Me neither. Okay. I'm just checking.
I like Nebraska, but I guess that's kind of like the obvious.
If you don't like Bruce Springsteen,
you
like
that record.
That record.
Yeah.
But anyhow, so Rickenbacker made Little Steven, this one-off purple 12-string Rick, They never, ever do one-offs, but they did in this case. And he wanted his pickguard to have his logo on it.
Yeah.
And
Which is
Rickenbacker,
basically the Ohm sign.
yeah,
Right?
Om.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And so Rickenbacker said, "No, we can't do that. We don't do onesies. Call Tony." And so another one of our guests, Andy Babiak, got a hold of me, and we made this pretty cool guard. If you look on, either the Rickenbacker backer. Sorry, I always say it wrong.
Tony.
I know.
Tony.
It's an old habit. Old habits die hard.
Yeah.
So anyhow, there's a pretty cool. There's some photos of him playing this guitar and what have you.
That's really cool.
Secondly, I just did a similar project for All Parts. They're for their NAMM display. All Parts, I believe, procured the Badass line or the rights to use that.
Oh.
So, bridges and different things like that.
Kind of most famous for the bass bridge,
Yeah,
right?
like the replacements for P bass is the Leo Kwan Badass Bridge. And so they're rolling out this at this year's NAMM, and they wanted to have that Badass logo on a couple of different guitars, a bass and a guitar. So if you're at the NAMM show, as you will be, Todd, look for the black Les Paul Jr. with the orange Badass guard and the orange Mustang bass with the white Badass guard.
I will definitely look for those. And by the way, any of those who are listening who are going to NAMM, I and Billy, Billy and I, and actually Johnny Morales is going to be hanging around. He was just on the show. We're going to be at NAMM, so please contact us. We'd love to meet you and do a little high five and a
Sharing
whatever
espresso.
else. Yeah. Great. Let's check in with Max. Max, what's going on in your music world this week?
Well, for like the past year, guys, I don't know if you want to hear this. I haven't really done that much musically. Mostly just our podcast. You know what I mean?
No.
Yeah.
I believe the question was this week.
Yes. Yes.
Well, this week especially nothing.
Excellent.
I've been thinking about selling some of my gear.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
If only there was a place that you could sell that.
Yeah, I was wondering,
I know,
is there
right?
like a auction-y kind of place that
But as soon as I think about selling it, I kind of don't want to.
Yeah.
it's hard to part with?
What is
things.
what is, boy, I'm on a real good roll with words.
Me talk pretty one day.
What is something that you were thinking about selling?
So I have a 79 Marshall JMP 212 with a road case. And like, I don't really gig anymore, and it's huge, but it's so cool.
Is that a 50 or 100?
50.
Even better. Oh man.
I know, it's so tight, but it's massive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's terrible. What do you think? What does something like that command? I'm not really certain of that particular. That's a very
pretty
specific
sure
thing.
it's between like 15 and 1800. People have them online for like 2,000 to 2,200, but that's like, basically retail.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think 15 to 18 on Craigslist, something like that.
Wow. That's really, really cool.
That's a great amp.
That is.
I know, so I can't get rid of it.
I think you should save it.
Especially in New York. That's a must-have.
I know, but it's freaking huge. It's like I can barely move it.
Yeah.
The road case, it's one of those situations where the road case in this case doesn't actually help. It just makes it like insane.
I know.
Yeah.
When I first got it, I bought it in like Williamsburg and brought it back to Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, and I was by myself.
Oh,
right,
man.
so I put it in a taxi by myself,
Oh my God.
and then I lived on the third floor, so I actually had to take it out of the road case and carry it upstaice,
Yeah, this is the
and then
irony.
carry up the road case separately.
An army of rats helped you
Oh
out.
my God.
it
I mean,
was
at
rough.
least Vox has the nicety to put 3 handles on their AC30s.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Not just one, yeah.
Yeah, just the one hand. Boy, I don't. Ugh. In a
Well-
road case too.
Yeah. Well, let us know how that works out for you.
Don't sell it. Don't sell it.
Don't do it. Don't do
sell
it.
it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Brian, about yourself.
Well, this week, well, I played a gig last week. I haven't, it's pretty early in the week, man.
This week, Brian. This week.
I know. This week, nothing. I came home from work yesterday. I watched some dumb show and passed out. I don't know. But yeah, nothing too much. I got a lot of podcast stuff this week, to be honest. I played a show last week, a lot of music stuff last week. This week, I've, between our show and coming on this show, we got a couple days of the week.
Tell us about the show.
The show you played.
The show you played.
What are we talking about here? So I have a band. It goes under my last name, Chilemi. I put a record out in like 2021 and moved back to New York from LA last year. So I've been trying to find people to play with and get a band together and stuff. So I finally found a really good group of guys that I'm excited about. And we played our second show. So 2 shows in a row with the same crew. So feeling good about, moving forward and trying to play some cool shows this spring,
What's the vibe of the band?
It's kind of like, I guess like 60, 70 style rock. I like Lee Hazelwood a lot, but it's definitely like harder than that.
Cool, man.
So what
A
do you...
little country-y.
Yeah, a bit.
Huh.
A little bit rock and roll.
I was going to ask, what do you feel musician-wise, the difference between LA and the New York scene?
For sure. I mean, I'm from, around here. I came up in the music scene here. I've been, playing music in New York City since I was 18 and, I'm 40 now. So I feel much closer to that here. But yeah, I mean, LA is definitely a different boat. There's definitely less places to play. People don't play as much. And there's a lot more session stuff happening where people playing 5 bands, you know what I mean? And they're really good, but they're not really just waiting to see which one hits,
Yeah.
Whereas New York, you can kind of build a scene, and it's a little easier. It's not as Hollywood, for lack of a better word.
No, totally.
It's more about art here, I guess, and it's more about entertainment there. So having that art angle, there's a noise scene. There's more experimental stuff. So if, especially if you're just trying to play in a rock band, it's it's a little more flexible in terms of what you can do. Say out there, it just seemed there's not as many clubs, and
it's more about like trying out for the big show. It's like everything is like, are you gonna make it?
Yeah, everything's that whole vibe versus just like becoming an artist and trying to make good songs and make a good record, and hopefully people dig it, and you know what I mean, that kind of a thing.
Yeah. So I hear you.
So
hey, on that note, I think this is pretty cool. I'm going to share this just real quick.
How about you, Todd?
Oh, actually, yeah, this will work in a thing. So, I was going to slide right into that anyways.
I know. Noticed that.
This week, preparing for our trip out to NAMM, I solidified all the travel plans and yabba yabba, all that stuff. And I thought, while we're out there, I know Billy has never been to the Sunset area, and he's like, "Hey, I really want to go out there." And I'm like, "Yeah, man. I mean, I grew up out there, and actually, one of our songs, which is called "Bring Me the Night," is all about that." And so I said, "Let's do it." I started looking around. I was like, "Man, maybe there's some shows or something. It'd be really cool." Nothing. I'm looking at like the entire week that we're gonna be hanging out. There's nothing. It's just a whole bunch of bands I've never heard of. So there is lots going on, just nothing that I'm aware that I'm familiar with, until I got to a little tiny theater featuring a little tiny band that I love.
Let me guess.
X.
Oh, nice.
I can't believe it. We got tickets to go see X at this tiny theater. They're like $35. I could not be.
Wow.
I was like texting everybody.
I mean, that's
so excited.
By LA standards, that's a free show.
I mean, seriously, like what is this? I don't. Maybe it's a hoax. I don't even know because it didn't. That's crazy. I don't get it.
You sure it said X?
It says it's X. It is April 12th, I believe, Wednesday, April 12th, and hell yeah!
You sure it wasn't the Roman numeral X?
It is the Roman numeral X.
I know, but
that's what their band is.
The band name is 10.
Yes, the band name is 10. No, it's all. It showed their faces and everything.
Oh, okay.
So, if you're out there, look out for their show. And maybe we'll see you there. That'd be really fun.
That's
so
pretty
please
cool.
say hi. Yeah,
that's really neat.
Massively excited about this.
That's probably better than the NAMM show.
I mean, this is shaping up to be pretty sweet. I'm very, very excited.
I'm happy for you.
You know, Tony.
Yes, Todd.
Tour gear patch cables. You should get some.
I have some. What do you mean I should
I
get
just went
some?
right for the throat on that. We talk about this every week, and it's because we truly believe they're fantastic products.
Yes.
And I actually need to order some more. And they're good. They're good dudes, and
Yes.
they make it affordable.
Yeah, but speaking of affordability, go to the website, load up your shopping cart with all lengths and shapes and sizes.
Patch cables galore.
When you get to the end, there's a little place you can put a coupon code in. Type in the guitar knobs, and you're going to save an extra 10%.
Yep. That is a solid way to make sure you have a board that's dialed in. You get all the same patch cables, so you're not mixing and matching them, and they're not cumbersome. It's a great way to operate your pedal board. So
And don't
highly
forget the
recommend it.
U.S. dollar goes further in Canada.
That is true. So it's even cheaper somehow. Now, we want to thank Tour Gear for sponsoring our 4 on the floor.
Times 2.
Times 2. Tony?
Let me get a little bit of this.
Oh, that was a good one. 1, 2, 3.
4 on the floor.
All right. Let's get 4 on the floor, which is double the fun from the Sonic Artifacts guys, Brian and Max. Brian, you go first.
All right, man. Well, I got to have some reverb, so I'm going to start out with Earthquaker Devices Ghost Echo.
Good one. Solid choice.
Yes, definitely.
What about that one out of all the reverbs? What do you love
It's kind
about
of transparent. And I actually only use it on my 50-watt amplifier. The lower ones, I feel like I have to, it doesn't push, the pedal I don't get the juice that I want out of it. But on a 50-watt amplifier, like I have the 60s Bassman, it just perfectly doesn't add any gain, which I don't want it to add.
Yeah.
That's why I like it.
That's cool. That's cool. Now, do you get the same? I'm trying to remember if the Ghost Echo is sort of tanky or slappy or like springy or slappy or both, or
It's has kind of like an echoey thing. Like it can get really kind of they call it the Ghost Echo because it has these ghost trail notes, but I don't put it anywhere near on the settings that happens,
Right.
So I keep it pretty tame, but on my smaller amps, I use like a Van Amps spring reverb tank that I just put on top of the amp, and that drives it, and I get a couple dBs more, and it hits it right hard in the front end. With the Bassman, it's like kind of starts feeding back and stuff. So this is the Ghost Echo.
Are you dragging the Bassman around to those gigs in Manhattan?
I was, and yeah, man. I mean, for a long time, I carried the original 212 cabinet. I've taken that thing across the country like a maniac when I was younger. But
Glutton for punishment.
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, like
Was that the slant back 212?
Yeah, dude. I used to slant it. I had the screws and everything. Like, I was like, I'm telling you.
I love it.
Now he's down to a Line 6 pod.
No.
So if you drop this Ghost Echo pedal, does it make that springy sound?
No. It's
Too bad.
But
Somebody should develop that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know. Well, the smallest one I can find are these Van Amps ones that they're.
Yeah, we talked about those recently.
Yeah, so that's kind of like the smallest one I could find. That's like, it's solid state, but there is a really small actual tank in there.
Yeah, and do you put that on your pedal board?
No, I just put it on top of the amp.
Okay, all right.
Because I don't turn it off, and it's like huge,
Yeah.
and it's kind of lame because it has a proprietary power source, so I don't want that messing around. So I kind of like keep it out of the mix with people walking, where you're stepping.
Yeah, for sure. Man, that's cool. All right, number 2.
Super Trem. Yeah, full tone Super Trem, and I have the ST1 that has the 10 dB boost. So I keep that on a little bit, and I keep that always on. And it's just, it's a nice little crunch. And obviously the tremolo is pretty great.
Is that the big pedal or with the two big knobs, or is it
exactly?
That's the one I have. Yeah.
The big one. Yeah, because it's there was a little while I would use it for these intros where I would do like the really slow kind of crazy like halftime kind of stuff, and then you can cut it to the regular like Fender style tremolo, and you can kind of like there's a bunch of cool options with that, I think.
Yeah, that's a cool pedal.
Yep. I'm not crazy about the layout on that one. I struggle with that because I got big feet, and it's like the foot the
hard soft and the half speed. Yeah, where you're trying to. Yeah,
it's just like it's right in the middle of the two big knobs and sideways. I'm like, what?
Oh well.
Yeah, I've been keeping them on more, and I just keep it on usually, unless it's like one of these songs where I'm strumming and the tremolo will like get in the way, which is not very often.
Yeah, yeah. I guess I just need pointy shoes.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
I'm actually looking at a pair. It's pretty cool. Anyways,
number three.
It's a new edition. I put this on last year. I was into the carbon copy delay, but I thought it was kind of too dark. I remember buying one years ago, MXR carbon copy delay. And then I stumbled across in a Sam Ash, like secondhand. I was trying a bunch of delays out on Sunset Boulevard, and they had one, and it was the MXR, but it's the bright one. It's like Kermit the Frog green almost.
Oh, yeah. Okay. And they filtered out the darkness.
Yeah, it doesn't sound brighter than normal. It just sounds normal. So it's like
there you go.
Yeah, so I'm like, great, because I like a cutting tone, and the other one was cool, but like I said, it was too dark, and then this is just like normal. It's more, to me, it's like not even bright. It's just transparent.
Okay.
So that's pretty cool for little slapbacks effects and stuff like that, or if like I found it kind of cool for a solo boost, because it's sort of kind of thickens the sound. It's kind of a clean boost, but in some ways, because it's not really like a game when you hit it,
Right.
So.
I really wanted to have a little switch, where you go from high to low, but it says hi ho. Hi ho.
No one else will be able to see it but you.
Yeah.
How about cease and desist?
Frog here. Okay.
Number 4.
4 is I don't even know, 12 years ago when I first, basically my original basement and my original guitar started breaking down. All the stuff started breaking. So I got really into gear because I was like, I got vintage gear. I gotta replace things the right way. And I was like, I didn't really play with pedals when I was younger. So this is the first pedal I bought a couple pedals and I sold them, but really that I got connected with was, I had a friend build me, which again, at this time I was like, oh, you can build stuff. People can make you stuff. You don't have to go to the store. He built me a treble booster pedal, and he had a real, the real, I think it's the OC44 in there. He took it out of like an old Hammond organ or something. He's like, oh, I got the parts. It's pretty simple. I want to just try and make, pedal. And I've been using it ever since, and it's super cool. And I've tried some other ones, and they're not really the same. And I don't know what I would do. I don't know what he even did in there either. So
yeah. Speaking of the treble booster, there was one that I saw on sale, used, because I'm constantly looking at things, and I started to look into it. I hadn't heard about it before, and I started to go down a path of finding out what people had said about this. This was released like maybe almost 10 years ago. It's I think around there, and I remember going into this one forum, and it's funny because if you're going into a forum, it's a certain kind of person and certain age typically and all this stuff. And I was going through and looking, and then down at the bottom, they goes, yeah, I didn't really like that one. I've heard of this guy named Chris, and I had him. I got a pedal from him. They're pretty cool, and they're really cheap. And I was like, That's got to be Chris Vincent, R to R, and it was because I followed the link.
Oh wow!
And I was like, what? This guy was calling him out way early, when he first started.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah,
that's amazing. Yeah, he makes them. I mean, if I was gonna get one, that's the one I would get.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just happened to have one. My friend made me for years, and it's what am I gonna do? It sounds great. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, it works, So.
All right. Well, that was a solid lineup. Thank you, Brian. Max, how about yourself?
All right. So For like my whole time I've been playing music, I really only use 3 pedals, but it's 4 if you include a tuner.
Yeah.
Does that count?
By the way, just before we go any further, if anybody that's playing along and trying to see, so I'm thinking this of like mentally like Hall and Oates. Okay, so we just heard from Daryl Hall, and now like the smoother sounding guy with the mustache. Oates, you're up. Go ahead. That's how we're keeping mentally. I know that's not what you guys look like, but it's fun. Let's just go with it.
Can you sing the man-eater part? He's a man-eater.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
So like I said, I really only used 3 pedals for the most of the time I ever played music, right?
Right.
4 if you include a tuner.
All right. We'll bend the rules slightly and allow you to use a tuner. What type of tuner do you use?
So I always used, I had one of those crappy Boss ones for a long time, but that broke. But then I got the TC Electronics Polytune, which I love.
Yeah.
Yep.
The Mini?
No, this was before the Mini came out.
All right.
But I wish I had the Mini, but I was
still
too
better.
cheap to switch for no reason.
You can see it. That's the whole thing. Is like you look down and go, "Oh, I see what it's trying to tell me." I
Yeah, and you
never
can play a
understood
chord
people
and it
using the
shows
Boss
you-
TU too. I don't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Polytune, yeah, you can immediately see which, if any of your strings are out of tune.
Gigs are dark. Why on earth would you be messing around with the flipping
6
needle?
at a time.
I don't get it, man.
The needle don't work.
Yeah, the Polytune or the Boss TU2 is sometimes, I don't even know what was going on with it sometimes. You know what I mean? It just like wouldn't work.
Yeah.
That's what I use. I don't even keep it on my board. I keep it on my amp. I have to unplug and walk over and plug it in. It's like
jeez.
insane.
Yeah.
Can I introduce you to an ABY box?
Yeah.
I'm like caveman over here. It's not-
So that was a pretty boring pedal.
Yeah. Well, hey.
But that's a good
But
tuner.
it's not a TU. So there you go.
Yeah.
So typically my setup was tuner, I had a chorus, then a fuzz, then a delay, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the chorus that I really liked was Build Your Own Clone pedal. You remember that company?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I actually bought this on Craigslist a long time ago. It was a stereo chorus pedal.
So somebody already built it, or
Somebody built it,
Okay.
yeah. It has a high and a low filter, and it has a depth and a speed. And then it has a switch which does something like it switches between a different chip, right? I'm not sure exactly. But it sounds fantastic. You get really, really crazy sounds out of it. And sometimes, if I went to a gig, if they had like an extra backline amp that was pretty cool, I could do a little stereo setup.
stereo out, yeah.
Yeah.
But for the most part, you used it mono.
Yeah, totally. I had that going into the fuzz, right? Because I didn't want too much chorus sound. I like how the fuzz kind of covered it over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it didn't cut down the fuzz. It you want all the sound of the fuzz. You don't want it to slim down too much.
What's your favorite fuzz? That'll be number 3.
Yeah, so I always used, I don't even know if this company is big. It's a made by Mike 78IC muff. So a big muff clone, some like smaller boutique guy. I think he's from England.
Huh.
It's one of the fuzz pedals that has one of the big muff clones that has like you can drop out the mids or turn on a mid filter.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I always cut the mids.
Yeah. Well, there are. Don't think I've heard about Made by Mike.
That does not sound familiar.
Yeah.
We will
We'll have to
research
look
this
into that.
and report our findings.
Yes.
Yeah, but it sounded great, so I never got rid of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
maybe someday that'll be worth even some astronomical amount because it was so unique.
If
It's so
Mike
trashed,
is listening to this,
All the knobs are gone.
yes. If Mike is listening to this and wants his pedal back,
Yeah.
we can hook you up.
It's like I made 3 and I quit.
Yeah.
How about number 4?
Number 4, I use one of those old analog delays by Ibanez, the ADL.
Oh, geez, yeah, I remember those.
I think it's an awesome pedal. It's also has a stereo out. Sometimes I would do that instead of from the chorus. Except it's like it's only a stereo when it's on, which was weird. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, which was kind of annoying.
Well, that's an early one, so it's
That's
they hadn't worked.
Series 10 ones. I believe that's the.
Is that the one?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the Series 10s with the offset rubber pad.
Yes.
Yes, it is. You're correct.
Yay! I win.
It does have the offset rubber pad.
You win an ADL pedal.
Yeah, that's a. I think Jared's actually got that one.
He might.
Yeah, it's amazing. Those things are still $100 used, bare minimum, up to 130 and 329.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
Yeah, that's
They're
crazy
pretty
pants.
dark, right? I would use it kind of as like I would have the volume up really high on it, the level, and use it kind of as a boost sometimes, depending on what I was doing. But for noisy stuff.
Dig it, man. Dig it. And
Yeah,
it's if it does get destructed, it's not like one of the earliest the 89s for the pink ones that are like $300 still.
Yeah.
Crazy. All right. Well, that was a delightful rundown of your guys' 4 on the floors collectively. Thank you for sharing that with us. We did want to just get into the actual business of your business and stuff.
So, Todd, before we go any further,
Yes.
how can listeners find these guys?
Well, we should ask them.
Okay, guys, how can people find you?
Sonic Artifacts, the podcast is on all the major platforms, Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon, and a bunch of apps that I've never heard of and will never use.
It is amazing when you're like, what is this thing?
I've never heard of it. Who the hell's listening on that? But anyway, yeah, we're on all the stuff, as you guys are. So you can definitely check us out there. We put a show out every week. And our Instagram lists via the link tree, which is linktree/Sonic Artifacts, and it's at Sonic_Artifacts at Instagram. All of the deals that we find across the country. So you can follow along, check out the links, reach out to the seller if you want, and dig what we're talking about. So yeah, you can. So there's visual pairing to the show.
Nice.
Fantastic. I dig it. Now, for those who don't know what Sonic Artifacts is, you're about to dive down deep into it. So we want to hear about all that, but we also want to hear a little bit about, your guys' personal selves and how that plays into what you're doing. Can you, for our illustrious listeners, go into detail about what exactly Sonic Artifacts is and why?
Why? That's the hard part, right?
Why do we do this, Max? Tell them why we do this.
It's kind of a tricky one, Brian. It's just because we were doing it already, kind of. How about that?
Yeah, Max. For years, Max and I were sending deals. It's kind of the only way. We didn't really even have conversations. Like, we wouldn't hang out independently. We would literally just send deals back and forth to each other. That was the beginning of our friendship. And we do the show remotely, so we actually don't even sit with each other. A lot of times, it's really through the show. But we were sending deals back and forth for years and years. The New York Craigslist, obsessed with Craigslist. I had a Tumblr called Brian's List, and I started listing deals, I don't know, maybe 8-9 years ago. And then it got picked up by this blog, Alt Citizen, and I was kind of trying to put video components. If I saw a piece of gear, I'd be like, oh, here's a video of someone using it. Here's why you should buy this. It's basically, a way to fuel an addiction where I can't buy all this stuff. Max can't buy all this stuff, but it's an amazing deal and someone should have it. And I would just be begging all my friends, like, are you looking for something? Are you looking for something? And, I just love sharing deals with people. My buddy was looking for a guitar the other day. I sent him a 74 SG. He just went and bought it. He's loving it. He bought a brand new SG a couple years ago, and he's like, this thing blows it away. And that's like what those are the kind of stories that that I want to hear, and that's what we want to do is connect the seller with the buyer and you don't have to spend $1 million to get something that sounds awesome.
Who's that friend, Brian?
Mark.
Oh, really?
Yeah, our friend Mark Carroll. Yeah, from the band The Men. Yeah, he just stepped it up. He bought a '74 Les Paul Special with those mini humbuckers that everyone talks about.
Oh, that's tight.
And this thing is mint. It's freaking awesome.
Now, are you guys like? And I don't mean this in a judgy sort of way. Are you reaping any benefits from these said sales, or are you just going like, hey, here's the thing?
No, this is completely, we're listing. Yeah, the goal eventually is to have our own site where we can, list this and have a, like as a forum and similar to like a Reverb or one of these auction sites. But currently, we email every seller. We let them know that their deal is going to be on a show, to reach out. If anybody buys it, tell us the story, see what you're trying to do, where the piece of gear came from. And then also, if anybody's looking for anything and just reasons why you should buy something. Maybe you're not looking for this now, but like, oh, that is, if I see that guitar again, now I know why that's a cool deal or why that's a cool piece of gear that maybe is not as, the 59 burst or whatever that, a lot of, you know what I mean? Just kind of for under $2-3 grand. It's funny, when we started the show 2 years ago, we kind of had like a $2,000 to $2,500 cap. But since the prices are rising, I feel like we're now doing like $3,000-$4,000 things now.
Yeah.
I know it does happen that way.
Yeah.
But you can still find like like an Ovation breadwinner every now and again.
For sure. No, their deals are out there. And, the first season I lived in Los Angeles and, he was in, obviously New York, like we were, and looking at the New York Craigslist obsessively every single day for like 10 years. Like, I feel like it's an ecosystem. It's like I feel like it's a sociological, I used to call it the barnacle and the whale that is Craigslist. It's like a subcategory. Yeah. And there's like, all these listings and it's just, you see gear come back after 6 months, a year later. I remember you. I guess you're trying to sell it again, but you updated the pictures.
Yeah.
There's been this guy on the New York Craigslist who I swear to God, for like 5 years, he's been trying to sell these like autographed pictures of Peter Frampton. Have you seen those, Brian?
No, I haven't. I think my eyes are so trained. I scroll through pretty fast and things just pop out like 1964. It's like, all right, stop,
Yeah.
What is that?
I'm exactly the same way. Like I can't even explain how many times I look at Craigslist a day. It's kind of sick, yeah. And over here especially in the Columbus sector, there is the stuff that you're like, dude, you've been trying to sell this for like 5-6 years.
Yeah, no, it's great.
What are you doing? Like, are you really putting in that much time to go, I better re-up it, better renew this listing.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's this, there's also a guy that it's like he puts everything on these same 2 boxes. It's all like rack gear. It's like, where's the guys had rack gear for sale and it's different all the time. Since I've been here since 2010. I don't know. It's like there is a van that's driving around the neighborhood. This stuff's just bumping, falling off of it, and he gets it. I don't understand. It's like, okay, yeah. Anyways, yes, Craigslist is the gift that we have that I really don't think that we truly appreciate to the degree that we should.
It's one of the last few pure places on the internet, I think, in the sense that, Craig himself, which there is a Craig.
Yeah.
And my sister does the social media on the show, I should say. And we have a wonderful producer, my friend Vincent. So, we cannot do it without them. So I have to give them a shout out. I say this because my sister used to work in a hotel and Craig came in and he told her, I am Craig. Have you heard of Craigslist?
I love it.
I mean, she's a concierge and she's like, yeah, that's how I got this job. And he's like, I'm actually Craig from Craigslist. He said it.
Yeah.
But he was like super nerdy and his wife was right behind him. She was like knitting. She's like, all right, let's go. And she's like, but I'm Craig. I'm like, people should care. Like, he's just like, because no one knows or cares. That he
does. That guy's rolling in it totally.
Yeah. Oh my God. I can't imagine. But yeah. But yeah, no, they don't take advertising. It looks the same for freaking 23 years. And, I think it's a special place.
It is a special place. It brings me great joy all the time.
Yes. Every other day I get a Tony, you should buy this.
Yes, we're doing our own Sarnak artifacts. It's just me and Tony.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Billy
Me and Max,
Jared.
and then I was like, as soon as I moved, and then I was in a new ecosystem, the LA Craigslist. I'm like, hey man, they have all this Japanese stuff. They had all this stuff. You know, like, and then you start understanding, that, and that became really exciting. And that became, let's start the first season. I shared 5 deals in LA with Max, and Max shared 5 deals in New York with me.
Yeah. It is really interesting like traveling around the country, wherever I go. I remember this was one of the last travel deals that I got. I think this is a cool one. I brought this up a long time ago, but we're going to Cleveland, which isn't out of the state or anything. But we're going to Cleveland, and for whatever reason, I thought I'm gonna bring a couple pedals. Just never know what I'm gonna find up there. So I remember it's super late. We're all hanging out there, me and my family, just in Cleveland, and I stumbled on this guy who was selling it. There was just a box. It had a box, and it had a bunch of stuff, and I was like, wait, that's a box of stuff. And what he had listed in there was one thing in particular, and I should have just bought the whole box. But I called him, or I sent him a note, and I said, hey, I'm in Cleveland. I can come pick this up right now. And he's like, it's 11 o'clock. I'm like, that's fine with me if you're awake.
Oh my God.
But he said, well, no, I'll meet you in the morning. So I told my wife, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to buy this pedal. It's like, you guys will still be asleep. Everything's cool. And she's like, you're buying gear on our family vacation. What's wrong with you? And I met this dude in a parking lot at like 6:30 in the morning. Oh, wow. And he was an old guy. So he was like, he was up. And I got an original Heathkit fuzz, die cast body. And I knew like that was an expensive pedal. He's like,
right.
I don't care. Yeah, so I traded him an old OCD for it.
Nice.
Yes. Score. Yeah.
I think that's a fair trade.
Yeah. Anyhow, so the old list is fun. So if you're not doing that while you're traveling, what you're missing out, because when you travel in the country, I don't know if you guys have run into this, but there are certain areas that you tend to see lots of more specific kinds of gear. Mm-hmm. Lower Midwest, it's a lot of like ESPs and Deans and stuff like that, and like Line 6 spiders and a lot of PV later PV stuff, it's just an odd thing because that's not what you find in northern Ohio even or even on the East Coast. It's really interesting. These little micro ecosystems of what are people playing and why, and what are they listening to that's influencing that.
Yeah, that's
100.
I when I was in search of trainer amplifiers, could always find them in Michigan. Well, this is before they were popular.
Yeah,
back when I knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
But anywhere, northern coast, anything that bordered Canada, you could always find some old 60s tube trainer that was, hopefully working. But I bought a couple of them that way.
Yeah.
No, it's interesting because as of last season, we're going all over now. So I did a survey of just to see what the top 10 cities were that had the most listings because, now it maxes out at like 10,000. It kind of goes all over. You can find Boston and New York, et cetera. But at the time it would max out at 3,000 listings that they would show you. And there was only a handful of cities that even reached 3,000. So therefore you could like figure out how big the markets were.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, Phoenix and Dallas were like bigger than Chicago and Nashville in terms of listings.
Wow.
That's hard to believe.
Yeah. There's really, just looking at just the number of postings, they had more postings in those two places than those two places. And SF and LA and New York were the biggest, followed by, like I said, Phoenix. Even Denver was huge, and Dallas bigger than Austin. It was weird.
Yeah. It is strange, but you also start to get into that now. Everybody, the bigger the market, the more retail-y, pricey things tend to be.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's some of those places, there are really cool deals. Then there's some really funny ads when you start going into some, funky places.
Yeah, for sure.
The funniest one I have to say, if you don't mind, I'll tell this one funny story.
Please. That's why you're on the show, man.
Yeah. All right. This is
No
Max,
more stories.
This better be good, by the way.
Yeah, I'm wondering which one this is going to be.
Yeah, I was going to say, Max, I don't know what your funniest ad was that we found going, because now we're going like deep south.
Oh, man, there's so many. It's hard to remember.
Yeah, this one, it was a bass, and it was a pretty cool bass. I clicked on the ad. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was like, I have to sell this bass because I lost my finger. So I'm scrolling, and there's a picture of the bass, the front, the back. The third picture is a picture of his hand with the missing finger.
Oh my God!
Wow.
Because that really encourages me to purchase the bass. Like, I need to see that. Like,
Yeah.
And then across his knuckles, it said "hate." I was like, "Oh my God!"
Wow.
Yeah, it was like, I can't wait to go over this guy's house.
Amazing.
But the other side probably said love.
Yeah, you never know. We only showed the one with the missing. It's that was
Yeah.
Well, he wanted to show everybody that he was indeed missing a finger and not just trying to sell something on Craigslist.
It's not just the bass. It's not the bass, man. It's me. It's
Yeah.
like one of those.
Maybe his right hand said love, and then his toes said conquers, and then his other one says hate. That's probably what happened.
Yeah, I think you're probably wrong.
So there are times when we'll put ads up that are just freaking hilarious. That are like, maybe this isn't a deal, but like, who the hell made this ad? Which obviously is pretty funny.
That is mighty good. So you talked about plans about putting together something that is a little less reverby than reverb.
Yeah, I mean, down the line, that's the goal, to have a place. First of all, first we have the weekly show that deals with these deals, and then we have a parallel interview series, which we interview, people like, that make amplifiers, write books
Really
about
funny,
guitars,
handsome guests,
podcasters here, everyone from the scene, So it's kind of like just producers, musicians, all that kind of stuff.
smart people.
Smart people, especially the podcasters.
No, I haven't been on yet.
So, kind of give a background. It's kind of, to me, it's kind of what's happening now. Whereas obviously selling the used gear, it's what's happening, then, the whole vintage game. So, I mean, the goal would be to have a place, where we can, people can list things and sell them to people on this format. And it's, it's obviously branded and has a look, and we can host all of the interviews that we've had up. And so if you want a new guitar, this is where you go. And if you want an old guitar, you go over here. And have, background if who you're buying from. And I really love the regionality of Craigslist, and I would love to have a map, and just all the boutique builders from all over the world. And, just geographically, regionally, like, all these things really matter, I think. And we're kind of losing that as time goes on.
Yeah, I think that's it's funny. I think that Craigslist is one of the few things that is still keeping that kind of stitched together, and it's okay that it's in pockets. We like that it's in pockets. We like that it's not one giant Craigslist. It's kind of so. I just hooked Johnny Morales up with a guy from Michigan who was selling a J. Mascis Squire.
Oh yeah.
So he got it by way of me not living in the same state as this other guy.
Right.
And it all worked out,
Although Craigslist did expand their related searches. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Now, but which is, it's cool. But actually I did a search for something. What was I can't remember. And I was like, oh, wow, I was like, wait a minute. That's actually really far away.
Yeah. Recently, last couple of months, we noticed this. Yeah, we're like, oh, it's a great deal. I'm like, that's another city. I'm like, oh man. So it's actually not that cool but at the same time, you can always reach out to people, and they can ship you some, ship it. It's possible.
It is. I mean, we're getting stuff, and the recent search I did, I got stuff from Indiana, from Pennsylvania, from
out of state,
Illinois. Yeah. Also known as out of state. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that, I think, that would be really fantastic if you guys could manage that. And if you do it soon, make sure you let us know.
Yeah, no, of course. Yeah, it's a long-term goal. Obviously, it's a pretty intense e-commerce website. We'd have to, start building there. But at this point, just trying to connect connect people in, the thing here we love, which is, the gear world. And it's such an exciting time, which is, why there's so many shows about it and so many awesome builders and so much information out there. And just want to champion the amazing people out there that are doing this really innovative and cool stuff. And, honestly, pulling the mystery off of a lot of this vintage gear. You don't need to spend $50,000 on a Strat to get a great sounding Strat.
No, and you shouldn't.
Yeah. I mean,
realistically,
in Todd's world,
that's a poor investment. Yeah, because it's a Strat. I just got my own thing. I didn't even get that right away. I was Anyways, oh boy, I almost drug us out.
You
of
were
that
being
happy fun times.
Subconsciously facetious.
Yes. So, how did you guys? You said that you just started getting together. Where's your background stem from together?
No, we had a lot of mutual friends.
Okay.
All right. Next question.
So, we were playing music in Brooklyn, and it's kind of like, it's a big scene, but it's not that big. You know what I mean? Everybody's in everybody else's band. And I think, Brian, did I meet you through where you worked with Alex? Is that possible?
Yeah, I think a mutual friend Alex was playing drums with your band. I think pretty sure that's how I met you. We were working together, and then I went and saw your band, and then I met you. But yeah, we were like, again, we were, I don't think we didn't hang out too much exclusively, but just start talking about gear. And it's, sometimes it's hard to find. There's a lot of musicians that don't really care about gear, so it's nice to find people that do.
Did he come up to you and say, "Yo, I'm from Brooklyn"?
No,
missed opportunity, man.
Oh man, yeah, I don't remember. I actually don't remember how this even started. I just remember at some point we were sending deals back and forth because I know he was looking, And
there was one time I tried to sell an acoustic, and you were trading a guitar, and then you gave me your phone number, and then it ended up I already had your phone number, and it was you.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
I feel like we're in a John Cusack movie.
Yeah, I don't even know.
You remember that, Brian? You were selling that guitar that was an orange, like shredder guitar with a Slayer sticker, and I had some like
red,
50s acoustic that I wanted to get rid of.
And we were going to do a trade. Or you tried to trade me for it?
I tried to trade you, and you're like, no.
Yeah. That was the first guitar I ever bought, actually.
Yeah.
What is that? I'm very curious about this.
At the end of the day, I took the money and bought freaking bongos with it like an idiot. But that's a true story. But I had, the first time I ever bought it, I got it for my 20th birthday. Went out to the store, and it was like an 80s Ibanez Roadster 2 or something like that. But it didn't have the good pickups in it. But it was really easy to play. And I remember I never like gigged with it or anything. I just learned how to play on it and then bought something better.
And you said it was orange with a Slayer sticker on it?
It was red, and then I had this Slayer sticker that said Slayer in the exact same red. So then
that's actually
put black
cool.
around it. Yeah, so then I put it on the top horn because it's kind of like like a super shredder wannabe thing.
Yeah,
and you couldn't tell that it was a different red, so it looked weird. It didn't look like a sticker because of that.
Yeah, I can dig it. Okay, I've been to several Slayer shows.
Nice.
Actually, funny thing. Two quick Slayer things. I remember we were watching at the Hollywood. What the hell? It's at the Palace in Hollywood. We're at the Palace, and our friend's band, who at the time was breaking, and they were trying to get rid of their demo. They were a little band called Rage Against the Machine.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah, they were playing, and their demo was a cassette. It was like newspaper print, and there was a match taped to it, It was pretty cool, right? Anyways, so we're sitting there listening, and in between the songs, we hear this, "Hey," and we turn around, and it's like Slayer sitting like right behind us.
Oh,
and
wow.
like, you guys like these guys? What do you think? And they were just like legit asking, like, what do we thought of the band?
Of Rage Against the Machine. Slayer asked you what you thought of Rage Against the Machine while watching them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible.
It was really, it was interesting. And I think, if I recall, there was a band that opened up for him called like Double D Nose.
Double D Nose.
Seriously, I'm almost positive they were called Double D Nose. opening up for him.
Like it knows in your face, or like you know the answer.
It was weird. And then there's a place called out there called Dave and Buster's, which is like it's sort of like adult. Well, did you guys have those? It's adult Chuck E. Cheese, right? I mean, not adult like sexy Chuck E. Cheese. Which, I don't know. Why isn't there that? I don't understand. But the Dave and Buster's. So I'm sitting there just kind of walking through because I don't even know why I was there, but I was. And I walked down and I turned the aisle and there's a dude sitting on a stool with the wraparound glasses, and I was like, that's flipping Kerry King. And but he was
freaking Dave and Buster's.
He was in Dave and Buster's, and because they all lived in Orange County. I lived in Orange County, and he was just sitting there and just must have been waiting for his kid to finish up or something like that. And I was walking towards him, and I just gave him the most subtle nod, like, I see you, and he gave me a subtle nod back, and I just kept going.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, Dave and Buster's.
I ran into Jay Mascis on the street once, and I tried speaking to him, and he looked at me and went, and turned around.
And once again, why you should never meet your guitar heroes.
Oh, man.
And then he just walked away.
That's kind of how he sings too. So
Yeah.
maybe he was actually singing something to you.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
Oh dear. So any new plans for what you guys are doing as far as like the show? Let's talk about the show a little bit, because that's the thing that people can really go and listen to. I know that you dipped into it a little bit, but tell us like what was the genesis of that, and what you love about it and why people should listen.
Well, it was kind of a pandemic child. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We were all kind of locked up, and me and Brian were just sending each other deals. So we made a podcast.
Yeah, pretty much. And it was a way to, again, I was missing New York Craigslist like a psychopath, and I can reconnect. And yeah, it was 2021, January 2021, we put out the first episode, and, we were just wing it. Just was winging it, but, a couple deals back and forth, real BS about it. And just kind of grew from there. And, then we asked a couple people to be interviewed. And it was Max's idea actually to make the interviews separate from the show.
Was it?
Yeah, it was your idea. I know you don't even remember that, but that happened. So it was a smart idea. And yeah, so we put, once a week, when we can, we were doing every single week with the deals, and then every other week with the interview drops on Fridays, with our show comes out on Tuesdays with the deals. But as things got a little busier, we don't always put a show out every Tuesday, but we post deals every Tuesday, and there's at least a show once a week for everybody out there. And, on Instagram, we post a lot of, other cool content, and we always love to repost, people we've had on and get updates and see what's going on, that kind of a thing. But yeah, it's just a way to keep connected. And as you guys know, you meet so many cool people. I think we've interviewed like 60 people. It's like the amount of rad, amazing people building such cool stuff, and the amount of things you learn and get excited about. And now when I walk into a store and I'm like, oh wow, I talked to that guy last week, and oh wow, this guy wrote this book, and I talked to this, I'm like, the guy at the store is like, did you know? I'm like, dude, I know a lot more than you apparently, because I just talked to this guy for an hour directly,
Yeah.
And not really realizing it. Like you're saying, we're not really, getting cuts from these deals or anything, but the reason I always, remind myself I'm doing it is because you're connecting with all these people, and, and it just get to meet so many awesome people that are really doing what they love. And there's so many good pandemic stories, and just talking to people that are doing the thing that they love to do, is a positive, healthy thing to do, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I can recall January 20th, 2021. Hey, love what you do and have been a fan of your podcast for a while. My friend and I started up a gear podcast highlighting the best deals in NYC and LA on the used market. New show every Tuesday. Link in bio. Hope you enjoy, Brian.
Wow.
There you go. Yep.
Yeah.
And I sent that to a lot of gear podcasts, Todd, and you were the one guy that wrote back. And
January 20th.
Yeah, man.
Minutes later.
No, you were on it, dude. And I was like, all right, Awesome.
Yeah.
This guy's a genuine dude, and supportive. That's why, I saw you guys had 300 episodes and, we had built up our listener base and as you know, it takes some time to get a flow going.
It does.
And it was just, it was awesome to have you on, man. Cause like I said, from the beginning, you were as part of the gear community, and then it's kind of two communities, the podcast community and the gear community,
Yeah.
So it's definitely very cool to have, a brother show here, I would like to say,
Well, we appreciate that, and we I instantly I was like, yeah, that's great. More better equals good.
Yeah.
So, we're stoked that you guys are doing that out there. And ladies and gentlemen, if you have not listened to Sonic Artifacts, if nothing else, it's a cool name. So, give it a shot. You know what I mean?
We got that. We got a T-shirt if you don't like the show.
Yeah, that's a great T-shirt. That's a really cool T-shirt, by the way. Thank you.
Of course.
So we're going to final thoughts before we jump in the El Camino and take a ride.
No,
Wait, what's the El Camino reference?
Oh, we'll get there.
No, I'm just excited. That's people have been checking us out, and excited about the deals, and I'm stoked to be on the show talking about it. It's very, very, very cool.
Well, thank you. If people have a good deal that they're posting on Craigslist and they're like, "Hey, I got something really unique," should they reach out to you?
Yeah, they can reach out. I try not to take like total submissions because I don't want to be bombarded with a bunch of stuff that's not like a deal that doesn't fit the format, you know?
Yeah.
But especially if you have a cool story or if you've been on the show, I always encourage you, if you sold it, like who'd you sell it to? Like what were they doing with it? I don't know. Like I love the history of the gear. Part of the Craigslist too is when you go over to the house or whatever, there's always some funny might happen or whatever. I've gotten some.
There's always something funny that happens.
That's what I want to get more of that on the show.
Yeah.
Because I know that's really good. So that's what I'm trying to encourage more.
Scary sometimes.
Yeah.
Even as a grown man, I'm like, I don't know what I'm walking into here.
Well, I remember my friend was selling his like '90s Rick to this person or whatever, and I came over his apartment. And it was a long hallway when you went to the basement apartment, and then you walked down a long hallway back to the living room, and on the long hallway was a bathroom. So I went to the bathroom, and the guy within this time went back to down the long hallway, and he was like, some, suit blues lawyer kind of a dude, and he's not used to going into some, 25-year-old rocker kid's apartment or whatever. So he goes down, and I come out of the bathroom and I walk over, and this guy's face for a second was like, "Is this a setup?" It's like, no, dude, it's not a setup or what? Because, he had $2,000 in cash in his hand, you know what I mean? About to do this Rick. And I just like come out down the long hallway, and he's cornered in the back. And I'm like, this isn't what this is.
Yeah.
But yeah, Craigslist, you go, bring a friend.
And then little Steven popped out. And
yeah.
Let's see here. All right. Max and Brian, we are just really thrilled that you've been on the show. We thank you for coming on and sharing all these great stories with us. It is that time where we're going to hop in the El Camino. We're going to swing by Jared, who's not there because of this burning the midnight hours.
What are you doing?
At work. He actually
Come on out.
texted
It's time
us.
to do the Would You Rather.
Yes, he's not there. So we'll keep going. And now it's time for
Would You Rather?
That is weak sauce, but we'll go with it anyways.
Hey, would you rather?
Yeah, okay, it's getting worse.
I'm from Brooklyn.
Yeah, oh boy. So this is from our friend Scott Sullivan, who sent us he had some time apparently on his lunch break and got really crafty and imaginative with this one. So
Did he use a computer or
hang
on his
out.
phone?
I think he might have thumbed it.
Holy cow.
Yeah, I'm not joking.
That's impressive.
Yeah. Okay. So you're walking down the street in Brooklyn and you are approached by Fat Guy with a Cigar Records, who has taken notice of your Haymaker band called the Banana Brains. Fat Guy himself witnessed your stellar performance at the Rustic Rook in Texarkana, Arkansas. Like I said, it must have been a good burrito that Scott was having. He is offering an all-expenses-paid trip to North Carolina to perform in the town of Why Not at Why Not Pottery and Acacia Art Studio. This is very specific.
I would say so.
Yes. Despite Fat Guy offering this expensive endeavor, your band is Fat Guy's last hope to save his crumbling label. I think he's not picking the venues so well. That might be contributing.
Yeah.
On the plus side, Fatter Guy with 2 Cigars Records is planning to attend this event with the intention of investing a large monetary sum into Fat Guy with a Cigar Records. Stay with me. The record deal will allow your band to maintain all of its rights, and it's outlined in a rare artist-friendly contract. That's a bonus.
Yeah, that never happens.
His investment is going to be based solely on the delivery of a mind-bending performance by the Banana Brains. All right?
Okay.
So he wants to see the performance of a lifetime, and then he's going to sign this record deal, and it's going to save his record company.
Got it.
All right. Your band would receive $250,000 of no-strings-attached startup funding if they are as good as Fat Guy has described to Fatter Guy in a room drenched with cigar smoke.
I am so lost right now.
What is his day job? I don't understand where he's getting this. Due to Fat Guy's current financial disposition, he cannot afford to ship your gear to Why Not to North Carolina. Fat Guy does not trust the mischievous, rough and tumble rock fans of Why Not due to a past history of performances. Because of that, there are limitations to the gear provided for your performance.
Okay. Is this the would you rather part? My head is still spinning.
It's easy. It's just listen to it a few times. It'll be fine. So, would you rather scenario number 1? The venue has agreed to construct a stage with a soundproof and bulletproof enclosure featuring silent electronic drums, thus protecting your group and Fat Guy's prized equipment. The audience will hear your awesome performance, but there is no electronic audio signal within the special box, so you can't hear what you're playing, really.
Yeah.
Now, with the protection of the enclosure, Fat Guy has agreed to provide the professional gear confiscated from the now defunct supergroup, the Doobie Doos. In the aftermath of an unfulfilled contractual obligation. The confiscated gear includes an incredible Dream Custom Shop guitar of your choice, including, but not limited to, an SG Les Paul, Tele, or Strat. Fat Guy is a listener of the Guitar Knobs podcast and has invested all of his money over the years on high-end music makers.
Nice.
Okay, so that's scenario number 1.
Number 1.
So scenario number 1, bulletproof box, can't hear what you're playing, but you got the best guitar you can possibly think of. Or scenario number 2, you conduct a live performance behind a shoddily constructed chain link fence, despite the reputation for the crowd throwing bottles and trash and rats with tattoos.
Wow.
This leaves you all at the mercy of the fans that sent the Doobie Doos running home for doobie snacks. The following gear would be provided. A guitar, which is described in quotes on the website, high-end quality fingerboard kitten guitar, sold by Tony's friends at DHgate.
I love my friends at DHgate.
And a mini board of Amazon mini pedals.
Oh boy.
What kind of amp are we talking?
That's we don't know. Good one. No, crap one. Crap one.
Crap one
amp.
here.
Crap amp. Yeah. Okay.
In summary,
bulletproof, amazing gear, no hear. Or hear your awesome performance and perform well because you can hear it, thus potentially a greater chance of winning the $250,000 because it's all based on your performance.
I forgot that was part of this.
Right. So we all know it can be difficult, even with earplugs in our ears. If you're playing, like you feel disconnected. So imagine being in a sort of a box that you can't hear hardly anything.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's quite. But if you're playing on a piece of crap, that can be hard too.
Everything hinges on the performance, is what you're telling me.
Everything hinges on the performance.
Okay.
Yes, and or your ability to dodge rats with tattoos. Okay. So, Here we go. Yes. $250,000. Tony, what are you doing?
I have to, as much as I am afraid of tattooed rats, I mean, I don't mind. I've had beer bottles thrown at me before, so that's not a big deal.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with, I want to be able to, I have to hear myself.
Your mom's got terrible aim, so you never had to worry about that.
Yeah. I mean,
Daddy!
she only had one eye, so.
Yeah.
No depth of perception.
Yeah.
No, that's, I mean, being inside of a safe, soundproof cube is not something I could do. I mean, no. I have to assume the risk because I want this big record contract.
Yeah. It kind of makes me think of there's a band called The Battles, which is amazing. They had a song called Atlas, and they shot it in this glass cube, and it was freaking amazing. If you go look that video up, those guys are insane.
Did they fill it up with water?
No.
No, that would be even cooler.
Colder, anyways. Let's see here. So you're doing which?
I'm going with scenarios.
Scenario number 2. All right. Let's see. Max, how about yourself?
You got to go with the one where you can hear yourself. Have to. There's no way around it.
I was
don't
burping.
agree?
Sorry. No, I was burping. Sorry. I'm drinking bubbly water. So
I thought you were doing some of that Tibetan monk throat singing.
So Brian, how about yourself?
Also, scenario number 2. Yeah.
Both of you guys. Scenario number 2.
I saw Ministry once behind a chain link fence, and it was pretty rad.
Were you behind a chain link fence, or were they behind a chain link fence? I guess both of you were, really, if you put it in theory.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there was a chain link fence between us.
Yeah, that's a loud concert. The old Ministry there.
Okay. Todd, what are you thinking?
I'm going number 2 because I mean,
I know, honestly, I can smell it.
Even when we're practicing, it's like I just feel disconnected. You know, I know it's protecting my hearing, but it's so difficult.
Yeah, it's tough.
I mean, that's what in-ear monitors is different because you can actually hear what's going on. But just if I've got earplugs, because my right ear is right next to my drummer, it's like, you know. So yeah, that's a no-brainer for me.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's
plus all the stuff being thrown at you. You got to dodge it. It's like, you know, old Sex Pistols days down in Texas. That's awesome. Do it. Bring it. Throw me your rats.
It sounds like a way more fun show than a band like not being able to hear themselves.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, for sure.
So I'm going with 2 as well. So.
Yes, and I'm not a good enough player to not, you know, to be above playing the quality high-end maple fingerboard kitten guitar. So,
yeah.
Anyways,
sounds like, well, and since it came from my friends at the H
yes,
Gate,
and maybe didn't even arrive. Maybe there's something else
you
waiting
got a 50-50 chance.
Yes. Anyways, thank you, Scott Sullivan, for that incredibly whimsical and imaginative scenario. That was a delight.
And if you double thumb that, my hat's off to you.
Yeah.
Tip of the old fez.
Yes, indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to thank a few people here real quick.
Well, you know, Todd, at this point of the show, there's a very special group of people that we love to thank. These are our executive producers. Now, what's an executive producer? Well, executive producers make this show possible. How do you become one? You go over to patreon.com/the Guitar Knobs and just check out a couple different levels in which you can participate, become a sponsor, a patron of this very podcast. Each level comes with some very, very nice thank you gifts and opportunities to win great stuff.
Absolutely. We're going to be giving away another guitar here pretty soon.
Plus, you get a handwritten note from Todd himself.
Yes.
Thanking you.
That is super
and
special.
That is something to frame.
Yeah. No, we got really great stuff, and we love to get it in your hands, and we would love for you to support the show. So go ahead.
But there's one thing more.
Yes. You get to have your name read on the thing.
The name read on the thing.
I did it without a cue card, Jared. There you go.
Nicely done. So.
No, I don't need a cue card. I don't even know what's a cue card.
Is that like a Mutron? Yeah. So special thanks to these executive producers. Moon Guitars, featuring pedals, John Halverson, Rick Calhoun, Trevor Gunberg, Elad Mizrahi, Mike D, Richard Kendall, Mark Garton, Matt Hart, James White, Justin Jones, Anthony Gemalero, Bill Gola Guitars, John Esterly, Anthony Lathrop, Stefan Lamb, Michael Senchuk, Ken Sayers, Doug Christ, Darren Gregory, Tom Barazin, Rusty Sneeden, Ralph Gottschalk, Don Kloss, Gregory Randall, Brett Hogarth, Eric Hemmer, Stuart George, Michael Furman, Andrew DeHaan, and, of course, that bloke, James Bell.
That's right. James Bell. James Bell. James Bell.
I said it 3 times.
And we're making up for the times that we've messed up.
But he didn't appear. Usually if you say something 3 times.
Say it 3 times and Candyman appears.
Yes.
Ugh, scary. Okay.
But wait, Todd, there's more.
Okay.
There's more.
Yes.
There's more. There's the upper echelon of executive producers. We call them our grand poobahs.
Yes.
These are the creme de la creme, the top of the heap.
Yes. They sleep in 20 by 20 bunk beds.
Soundproof cubes. And they
Yes.
wear a fez upon their head.
Yes.
Whilst listening to the podcast.
And at the same time.
Yes. So special thanks to these grand poobahs. Tommy Manasco, Ricardo Iguareda, David Kaminga, Brandon Wyown Pickups, Hex Matos, Michio Murakishi, Bob Crouch, Jack Cadian, Sam Jett, Tyler Rhines, LSJ Music Company, John Williams, James Pennington, Adam Johnson, Steve Keys, Cody Foster, Science of Sound, Brian Robison, Jonathan Jerusik, Corey Nigro, Michael Van Zant, Tim Nowak, Jonathan Daly, Martin Cliff, Sean S., David Poe, Billy Spitfire Unlimited, and Congregation Gear Demos.
Wait, is this where you get to have your name read on the thing? No, Billy, back to sleep. Go ahead.
Go back to sleep, Billy. So thank you. I mean, really, we fool around a little bit here.
Indeed.
But we really, really do appreciate your support. And
we'll be hearing from some of the ones that we've mentioned that have not been on. There will be on, so we can learn all about them.
I like that idea.
Yeah. All right, dudes, Sonic Artifacts. Where can people go to check out what you are doing?
On all the platforms, my friend, for the podcasts. Like I said before, Spotify, Apple Music, Google, Amazon, and on and on. And we have an Instagram that links to our link tree. You can follow the deals. Check out, we just had a raffle for an awesome pedal. That's at Sonic_Artifacts. And the link tree is linktree.com/Sonic Artifacts.
Boom. And get yourself some Sonic Artifacts merch. It's good stuff. Do it. All right. Tony.
Head over to pickguardian.com. Check out some of the things that I do. By and large, what I do is custom work. So shoot me an email. Let me know what you need, what you're trying to do. I might even have some good advice for you.
Yeah.
Pickguardian.com.
And if nothing else, a pretty sweet new pickguard. You can DM me at The Guitar Knobs on Instagram. You can also throw me an email. Todd at theguitarknobs.com.
How exactly do you throw an email?
Just stop it. You stop it. If send us your guitar heroes. Send us your. Would you rathers? I feel like the Statue of Liberty right now. Send us all of your peoples. So I'm wasted right now. I'm just. It's been a long day. Please, if you have an HX Stomp. If you have one of the new Ampero 2s, if you've got one of these Valitron GP200s, if you have yourself an Eventide H90, go to Flint Effects and get that stomper to protect your knobs.
Protect your knobs.
Protect your knobs at all costs, everybody. Go check it out, flinteffects.com. And check out the Valentinos everywhere that you can listen to music. All right. Max and Brian, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We really appreciate you guys. It was great having you on the show.
Thank you for having us, man. It was really good, big pleasure.
Yeah, Todd, really appreciate it, man. Thank you guys. Tony, Todd, everybody. Jared, everybody. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, everybody, have a fantastic guitar weekend. Subscribe!
No.
Bing, bang, bong. Flim, flam, floozle, shabazadoozle.
Who's this? This Todd?
Who is this? This
is Max.
Max, this is Todd. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Excellent. I think he wants chili Fritos or
What
something.
Tony wants, Tony gets.
Right, okay.
I actually have video on. I got to turn it off.
Yeah,
All
let's
right?
turn that off, yeah.
All right, mute video.
Oh, there's 3 of you. That's amazing.
Okay, there we go.
What are you doing? What are you pressing? What?
Okay.
Okay, together.
We
okay.
don't
Yeah,
smoke
sure.
or swear or rat our hair.
Yeah.
No rapping either. All right.
Well, I don't know
No,
if you
rapping
guys
is
wanna-
encouraged.
All right.
Look at him trying to take control back of the show. I love it. He's like, "Hey guys, can we just do this? Here we go."
Todd.
I was waiting out here, and it's getting cold. Nothing to eat. I'm chewing on a doormat. Now it just says "well." I was also at the first Coachella out in California, where I grew up. It was during the Chemical Brothers, and this dude standing next to me kept like bumping into me, and I look, and he goes, "Yo," and I was like, "Hey," and he's like, "Yo," and he kept doing this, and he goes, and I'm like, "What?" And he goes, "Yo, I'm from Brooklyn."
In the middle of this concert.
Middle of this concert.
It's important to know things
And I
like
was
this.
like,
know
cool,
your
man.
neighbors.
okay, cool. And then he reaches into his sock and pulls out a bag of weed. He goes, "Yo, I'm from Brooklyn." What is going on?
That's
I have a
water.
glass of wine and a cup of tea.
Perfect.
You're killing it. I got like a quarter cup of water over here. So that's all I got.
Just swish a hot dog in it.
All right. Yeah, that's where I'm at. Yeah.
Hot dog soup, nothing better. I'll share my Brooklyn story.
Yes, please do.
You know the carousel?
Oh, yeah. But under Dumbo. Yeah.
Okay.
So that came from my hometown of Youngstown, Ohio. It was in a park called Idora Park. And I rode that as a kid in Youngstown. And then when the park burned down in the 80s, everybody bought up all the stuff.
Yeah.
And now it's in Brooklyn.
Tony was, I remember you were working at the World's Fair back in the...
I was a barker.
Guys, do you have any questions before we actually start?
Why?
Wow.
Why have you
how
agreed
soon
to
you
do
can
this?
how soon you can bail?
Yeah. Greatness. And if
It was.
something was great, it's like, wow, it's a doozy.
It's like the Cadillac.
Yeah, except
wow.
except it was a doozy,
That's
which is
right.
even better.
The Duesenberg was better than a Cadillac
It's yes. Anyways, okay.
until they went bankrupt.
All right. Thanks, Tony. I told you he was around for the World's Fair back then.
I remember my Duesenberg.
He was a consultant on Hello Dolly. I was staying in Manhattan and drove out to Brooklyn to find Mast Brothers chocolates. At the time, I had seen this thing. It was on like Food TV, and I was like, "This is really cool. I just wanted to see it." I appreciate people that make things, and I'm knocking on the door, and the dude looked like straight from the show, big red beard, and he comes out and he goes, "Yeah." I said, "Hey, I came all the way from Columbus, Ohio," and blah blah. He goes, "No, you didn't." I was like, "What?" And he got into this big like, "You're wasting my time. What are you doing?" And I'm like, "No,
my
really,
God.
I did." And I showed him my driver's license and everything. He's why?
Oh man.
Yeah.
I've told you of the best chocolates in
Yeah.
all of the boroughs.
Yeah. Now, what would have been better is if I would have said, "Hey, I'm from Columbus, Ohio," and he goes, "Yo, I'm from Brooklyn." And away we go.
Well, that's it for these knobs. Please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/theguitarknobs. Visit our website at theguitarknobs.com for all of our past episodes, 4 on the Floor blog, and other good stuff. You can connect with us on social too at our Facebook page and share your gear and stories on our Facebook group. Also, be sure to check out our Instagram at Guitar Knobs. Catch you next time.